Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Lead Up for Women, Speak Up to Lead Up. This is episode number 117. And I was just talking to my guests and I thought to myself, 117 shows. We started this back in February of 2019 when I launched the business in January of 2019. And I, for no any purpose, did think I was going to become a radio show host, a podcast host. Wasn't even on my radar. But sometimes opportunities come to us and we need to just take action on them. Was it stressful? Yeah. I spent sleepless nights watching, listening to podcasts online, anything I could find. There's pointers on what you ask your guests, what you don't ask your guests. I was stressed out to the hilt, but it was temporary. Temporary stress is not a bad thing. Temporary stress is a good thing because our bodies were meant to be able to flex with stress. And in that moment, I knew if I could just push my way through it and be brave and courageous and learn, I came prepared with mounds and mounds of notes. The very first day, I said a lot of ums, a lot of ahs, a lot of uhs, because I had a lot of filler words and I didn't know what to say. But over time, I just pushed away the notes. I leaned into who I was, how I wanted to run that radio show and that podcast, and how I wanted to make my guests feel welcome, and the message that I wanted to get out to the listeners that day. And when I did that, the stress went away, and it was with ease now that I can show up in front of you each week with some new guests. And today we're talking about slashing stress for that specific reason. So many of us we are just on 1,000 miles an hour every day, and we're just getting information, overload. And now with it being technology and being able to do it in the moment very quickly and efficiently, I call it, being online instead of having to fly somewhere for 3 days and fly back. It's so nice just to be able to efficiently be online. But is it information overload for all of us? Are we getting too much information and we think we just need to keep grasping that next shiny thing, but we're not doing anything with it? We're not implementing it. We're not slowing down to process to understand, does that fit my goals for what I wanted this year? So let's jump in right away and introduce the first guest that I have here. Her name's Mel McSherry. And I don't even remember who introduced me to Mel. I just remember the first day I got on the phone with her and I was like, you are my people. There's something about you that I love, the no nonsense approach, the very in your face, just straight up, this is the way it is, kind of slap you across the head kind of person. And I love that about her because she doesn't apologize. And I don't expect anyone to apologize. We need to live our lives the way we feel we need to live our lives. And that's what I love about Mel when I met her. So I'll tell you, she's an international business guide, speaker, and author of She Profits, which I bought her book, and it's right here on my bookcase behind me. She predominantly works with women and femme-identified entrepreneurs who are exhausted. We just talked about that, exhausted by everything they think they need to create the success they desire. She slashes their stress by using her spiritual gifts and her entrepreneurial background of 10 plus years and guides them so that they're aligned to their true design of who they are and how they work, then together make a customized plan of action so they can have the business, money, and life they want while being profitable mentally, emotionally, and financially every day. Boom, drop the mic. I mean, come on.
It was nice to be here.
You do all that in one day and wrap it up in a nice little bow.
Right? Ta-da.
Now, come on. I mean, you weren't always this way because I wasn't always this way.
No,
and it was the overload and all the things that happened to me to get to putting my life exactly together the way I wanted it and not expecting it to be done by my environment or people around me or people I reported to. So tell us a little bit about your journey to get to you being so comfortable in who you are now that you're modeling that for other people and helping other women that desire that same life.
Yeah. Well, first of all, thank you for having me. And no, I did not just wake up like this. Like everybody else, this has definitely been a progressional journey. And there are bits and bobs of my story that aren't necessarily what you would think would be aligned with going after what you want. But I love sharing it because it just shows that, there is no straight line from point A to point B. Like you see even those TikToks, they do that, like it goes around and about. But all of those experiences are meant to happen so you can, take what you need so you can create the business, the money, the life that you want. So my journey started in 2010. Yes, sometimes years just escape me, but that's okay. And I was actually in the fitness industry. I was a certified personal trainer, did in-home trainings, outdoor boot camps, whole 9 yards. And then when my son was born in 2011, it was just way too hard to travel. I was married at the time, and his father works in Major League Baseball. He's gone 2 months straight for spring training, works every home game, takes every away trip. So I was kind of stuck figuring out how to make what I wanted work in the capacity that I was currently, working it in. And I realized there just wasn't any solution at that time. So I ended up actually taking a step to the side because I don't believe in step backs, and ended up doing some online medical billing for my father's company, who was in Phoenix, Arizona. I'm in Chicago, Illinois. And it was one of those decisions where it's like not even an iota of me thought this was a brilliant idea, except for the fact that I was able to stay home with my new baby, as well as have a little bit of space to re-examine, now what do I want and what does this look like for me with the time that I have. And what ended up happening is I started partnering with a network marketing company and was an online health and fitness coach. Now, I originally thought fitness was my jam. It was going to be my jam. That was going to be my thing. And what the universe decided to introduce to me at that point was the fact that I am extremely passionate about helping women develop their businesses, and not just in here's a process, here's a checklist, here's a thing, but to show women, caregivers especially, how you can prioritize your time, yourself, and your profit avenues correctly. And what are those profit avenues? And so I started doing more and more trainings on, how I blend everything, because I don't believe in balancing. Every time somebody says what work-life balance, I see somebody like running back and forth trying to keep the scale even, which is exhausting as fuck. Mine's more of a blend. So showing women and caregivers how to blend their lives together, how to blend their roles and their facets together. So every single day, no matter how much time they have, because they always have full say on how they spend the time that they have, they are choosing to be profitable for themselves, mentally, emotionally, which turns into that financial profitability. Well, those trainings just took off. I started doing more team calls and trainings for higher ups within the network marketing company I was part of. Other network marketing companies started asking me to do team calls and trainings for them. Fast forward to 2015, I'm in the middle of my divorce. My fitness business isn't going anywhere because I'm doing all these team calls and trainings for free. And I realized if there was any time to shift into a new direction, it was then. So I ended up getting my certification through the John Maxwell International Leadership Team, got my coaching certification with him, left network marketing in 2016, launched BTB, which is better than before, in 2017. And it's been just a phenomenal evolution ever since.
That's amazing. So let's go back to talk about how it didn't come to you the way you had anticipated it to come. So many of us have this vision already of how we think it's going to appear. And we talk a lot about putting it out into the universe, right? And putting it out to the powers to be to really attract and drive that to you. And that starts with just the fundamental basics that Napoleon Hill talks about in his book, which is desire, faith, and perseverance. And with that takes the action that we all need to take and the steps that we all need to take. So we need to know what we want, but the how usually comes along the ride or the journey, wouldn't you say?
Oh, most definitely. The how comes in parallel with the steps you already taken. I talk a lot about that in my book, She Profits, is that what you want is your true north direction. Getting caught up in the how, it's just because honestly, you're not going to be able to do it by yourself. The how is first taking stock in what are the strengths you already have, what are the resources you already have, and which one of those are in an alignment with what you want. So you can start working in those strengths, or what I do with my clients within their entrepreneurial design. So how can they start utilizing their strengths and strategies that are in alignment with who they are, and then understand what those strategies do to bring in the rest of those resources. And I always like to say, being still is an action step.
Mhm.
None of us are actually designed to follow up, pursue, 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 pursue. None of us are innately designed to act that way. It is really understanding, what do I want? What are the steps that I can take that I'm already have strengths in, or knowledge in, or that are in alignment with what I want? And then what is that next thing that I need to call in, or what conversations do I need to have to bring in that resource to strengthen what I call your not so much areas?
Yeah, I love that. Share with us, Mel, a story. And Mel is short for Melissa. So we also have a Dr. Melissa with us today. So the two Melissas are together. Share with us, Mel, one of your clients' stories that you've worked with that really just stays with you, that has been a big transformation for them, or they had a big
Mm,
aha moment.
mhm.
Who's that person? And you can change their name if you want to, but share how you were able to help them see, because you
Mhm.
can't force someone, right? You have to help them see it.
No, yeah.
How were you able to help them see how they could design that life that they desired based on their core strengths?
Mhm. I mean, there's so many stories because those happen at such different points. But the first person who came to me, and I'll use her real name, her name is Jill. And when she originally came to me, it was on a very structural basis. It was, how can you, when she saw what I did with prioritization and all of that, she really wanted somebody who could fit things into boxes, fit things into funnels, fit things into checklists, which I can do, and also help her identify the need for these checklists and where do they fall in line, and how do you prioritize those in everything else you have going on. And so when we started working together, it was more of, okay, how do I do this? How do I do this? How do I do this? And I would flip it around and go, well, how do you want to do this? How have you done it before? And she slowly but surely realized, and I would say this to her all the time, of, you have everything inside of you to answer the call of your soul. You just have to find it. And did she get frustrated with me at some point where she's like, just tell me what to do? Hell yeah, she did. And every time I would say, this, I'm not here for your business. I'm here for you and to strengthen you. And these are decisions that you want to make. So I'm going to play devil's advocate. I'm going to ask you a question to your question, because you really do know, you just really want somebody else to say it out loud first.
Mhm.
And when she started gaining more and more confidence, the biggest aha she had, probably, in the first couple months we were working together, was the fact that she did have full say on how she ran her business. She had come from a corporation, 15 plus years in corporation. So she thought she knew how to make it work. And when she realized how much corporate PTSD she had, and how much she was using those past experiences to try to determine how to build her own business, she was like, this is mine. This is 100%, this is mine. And how scary and how exhilarating that is. And from that moment on, she would just like walk into the sessions, be like, okay, I want to do this. This is what we're doing. I need to process this out. And all of a sudden, she just like took the reins and crushed it. And her business has just shifted and evolved in such an amazing offering. And the fact that she's like, and it's all mine. Like, that's the thing that she talks about all the time, is just how excited and proud she is that this is 100% hers and nobody else's. And this is what she has built on her own time and her own energy.
What an inspirational story. And I love that you helped her realize that she had modeled her business after what she remembered for all
Mm-hmm.
those years in corporate America. And
Mm-hmm.
unless you take control of and responsibility of understanding that you can do it any way you want to do it, we have
Mm-hmm.
to unlearn a lot of
Yeah.
those ways that we were taught back when we were not only children about finances, but how we were supposed to, fit into society, what was
Mm-hmm.
right, what was wrong. Same with business. And so many entrepreneurs that I've met now in this millionaire playground out here that have come from corporate America like me suffer with that same PTSD
Yeah.
that you talk about,
Yeah.
which is, I have to create this from what I know. and that's how I do it. But it's like, I can do it any way I want to do it, because freedom is like the number one word for me when you're not
Yeah.
in corporate America anymore. I'm free to choose what I want to do.
And that copy and paste mindset, I mean, that is both from, if you switch from corporate to entrepreneurship, or just if you start off straight in entrepreneurship, or even if you love your 9 to 5 and you just want to do, like a project side hustle. There are all these things that we feel like we have to fit in. You were talking about boxes before, that we have to fit in these boxes of, I'm a full-time entrepreneur. No, I'm a corporate person. No, I'm a side hustler. When it's really just understanding that you can create this as you see fit, and any kind of formula or process or anything that is copy and paste, those aren't going to work 100% all the time. So it is that moment of really understanding and connecting to yourself, sitting with yourself. And for a lot of people, that is extremely uncomfortable, but that's really where everything starts. This is your business. This is your time. This is what you want. So you need to spend a little time with yourself and really understand, what are my non-negotiables? What don't I want? I talk a lot about that with my clients. Like, it's fabulous to have these grandiose ideas, and not grandiose, but these beautiful visions of what you want to create. What do you not want to do to get there? Because that's where the overwhelm comes in. That's where we start saying yes to everything. That's where things get muddled. You're not really sure now what your message is. People are telling you to niche down. People are telling you to do this. And all of a sudden, you're starting to get swayed more and more by these outside influences and outside noises, when it's just all coming back to you. Take those 2 seconds and go, okay, this is what I just learned. Let me look at what I want. Where does this fit now in what I want to do right now? And if it doesn't fit right now, I'm going to put it over here until it does. And that's fine. You don't have to constantly be reacting. As I said before, stillness is an action step. So before you do anything, take that moment and reconnect with yourself and really see where this actually falls in line. Not just, where's this next shiny object because everybody else is doing it, and like, got to go over here.
Yeah, that's so true. You have to do things in your way, on your path, and what is appealing to you and how you want to do it. That's because you're the only you that's ever been. So you're the only you that's
Exactly.
ever going to be. So you might as well do it the way you want. And that is what sets you apart from anyone else. And that is also what leaves that lasting impression for other people.
100%.
Let's tell our listeners, how can they reach you? Do you have anything for our listeners today? Tell us all the goodness of how we get in touch with Mel McSherry.
I definitely do. So the best way to stalk me, as I call it, is on Instagram, and my handle is @Mel_McSherry. Really easy. And my website is melmcsherry.com. And the freebie I have for you all is, I'm giving away my mini prioritization bundle. So this is a DIY bundle, comes with some quick tutorials, a couple of resources to help you just take that time to understand and connect to what you want. Look at the time that you have, and then start creating a prioritized plan of action. So then you can, again, create the business, the money, and the life that you want, and the time that you have. So I'll put the link in there. The code for the freebie is Time Master. I'll put that all in the Facebook, and that'll be posted everywhere else. And if you need any other assistance, I would absolutely love to hear from you on Instagram, or please feel free to shoot me an email.
Thank you, Mel. It was a pleasure having you on the show today. And don't go anywhere. Stay with us.
Nope, stay right here.
We'll be having conversations still. So, Dr. Melissa Balazan, let's talk to Dr. Melissa. So, I know Dr. Melissa has an amazing story, and we'll have her get to that. But she's with us today because of her faith and her perseverance and her desire to really be able to not only help her mom, but to help so many other women and men in this world be able to live the healthiest life possible. And with her years, and she said 52,000 years of clinical hours, a healthcare, which she always talks, when she's in our circles, about how doctors really only have one semester, yet they're the ones prescribing all the medications. And she's had 8 years of study of medicine, and it's just brilliant the way she helps people really eliminate a lot of the medications that are killing them or holding them back, and supplement the real what they need in their life, the root of what they need. Right? Stop band-aiding all of this with all these pills. It's not helping us; it's hurting us. And so I'm going to just really quick say Dr. Melissa Balazan is a #1 best-selling author. She's an international speaker, Short Talks TV star. We have a TV star with us today. Has a passion for vitality and others, working with her clients who are frustrated with only treating the symptoms and desire to uncover the root cause. As I said, she is a consultant and a concierge pharmacist. She serves as an advocate for individuals in health and their medicine needs with over 52,000 clinical hours. So welcome, Melissa, to the show.
Thank you for having me, Colleen. It's an honor to be here.
Yeah, well, thank you for being here and taking the time. I know our schedules are so busy. And what you do, you taught one of our Teaching Tuesdays this week with Lead Up for Women, and we were blown away. There were several of us in the room, and she said, did you know that 1 out of every 5 females are going to die of heart disease, and starts counting off how many of us were going to die in the room. And we're like, oh, that is not healthy. Something's not right. But we don't stop until we are stopped in our tracks as females. And are you finding that a lot with the clients that you're working with today, Dr. Melissa?
Absolutely. We as women are notorious for go, 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 go. It's how much can you get done? How much can you cram in? And so, yes, we do have to have something stop us in our tracks. Part of my story, which we can get into in a little bit, I say I had to be hit over the head by a 2x4 before I actually woke up enough to realize that I needed to change something. And so, yes, I mean, as women, and I think we learn that, we see that through society. We see that from our parents, our grandparents. They were always doing something, always their hands moving. And I think that that's just ingrained in us, that we need to keep going. We need to keep doing this and this, and we give. And what we forget to do is to take care of ourselves.
Yeah, we become human doings instead of human beings. It's ridiculous, but it's what my mom did. It's what my grandma did. Everyone served everyone else. They were at most of the time, I don't remember them sitting at the table even ever eating. They were at the long list at the back of their own care. And so many women I've met, just like you, Melissa, they've had to get knocked down to the point where they were going to die before they stopped to take care of themselves. And you didn't get hit over the head with a 2x4. You got hit in the throat with a 2x4, if we're going to talk about what really happened to you. So share with us what happened, and why your mission is so prevalent and strong today for working with so many patients.
Sure. So I, like most, busy woman, successful in my career, doing well, got into pharmacy because I loved medicine, loved science. And my mom had she was sick when I was young. And so each of us has, a reason why we do things. And she was the reason that I went to pharmacy school, because I wanted to go into research. I wanted to be able to research things. Well, along the way, my path changed a little bit. I ended up working in more ambulatory care and institution, still did research, still changed lives, worked a lot of years in the cardiac area. And so I saw firsthand people coming in, have a heart attack, high blood pressure, a stroke. And when we look at and we research why, it all boiled back down to stress of some sort. So I can see this in everybody else. I treating my patients in the clinics, they're coming in, we're talking about things. And I have pieces in place, like a few pieces in place. I go and get a massage here and there. I go get my hair done. These little things that I thought, okay, this is what society says is self-care. This is what, I've learned in my circle of healthcare. And what happened is that as my stress level kept going higher and higher and higher, because I was becoming more successful and more successful in my career, which I thought was great. What happened is my body started telling me something and I didn't listen. I started having trouble breathing, couldn't breathe. So what did I do? Like most, I started and I went to my physician, and then I was turned to another physician and kept going and going, and nothing was working. We're going to treat you like you have this. We can't diagnose you. We don't know what it is. And over time, I took different medications because that was my path. I was like, okay, let's research it. Yeah, let's try it. Didn't work. Stopped the medication. Kept going. And what actually happened is finally I got to a physician who actually was able to find the root cause of my problem, be able to treat my symptoms. I actually needed to have surgery because my throat was closing off. My trachea was getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And that's why I couldn't breathe. Nobody else could figure that out. So I had to have surgery. And he told me, he said, you're going to be back in 6 months. And right there, I thought, wow, I don't want to go through this again. I mean, surgery is scary. Surgery puts your body at risk. And yes, there's times when surgery is necessary, but it's still, surgery is a stress on your body. You're putting yourself under with different things. And I kind of woke up and I'm like, that's where the 2x4 came in. It hit me in the throat first and then kind of knocked me on the head. Go, pay attention. What's going on? Why is this happening? Because I was given the diagnosis, which is a medical idiopathic, which means we don't really know where it came from. And there's a bunch of other long words to go with that, but that first part of it. And so I started talking to him and started researching, and the root cause was actually the stress. I was very successful, looked like I had everything under control, but I didn't, because my body was telling me I didn't. And I didn't want to go through that surgery again. So what did I do? I started making some changes. I started taking better care of myself. And I started looking at my surroundings and figuring out my situation was very situational. So I needed to remove myself from that area. And when I removed myself from that area, the stress went down, and I have not had to go back to have surgery again. It's been over 3 years. I have not had to go back to see that physician. And keeping, pulling yourself out of that situation is often the best thing. And I'm not saying everybody needs to quit. There might happen to be a job, but it could be, you're in a relationship, or you're doing things for your family that you can step back and somebody else can step in. So taking yourself out of that situation can often help reduce the stress. That's step one.
Let's talk about the power of the mind, because you said, no way am I coming back in 6 months, right? It's been 3 years because you refuse, and we cause stresses and diseases and illnesses on our bodies or not. Like you talked about in working, I was in a relationship at one point that was not a good relationship. I did not realize it caused multiple migraines and I was motion sickness. I thought that wasn't something brought on by stress or by a bad relationship, right? I thought, well, I can't do anything about that. I would get sick to my stomach. Anytime motion was involved, I'd have to take all these pills. I dumped the relationship, lost all the migraines, the CAT scans, they couldn't figure out what was wrong. All of a sudden, poof, they're gone. I have no more motion sickness. So we control all of that. So when you talked about our increased stress in our lives, if you're increasing your success, you should not be increasing your stress with that. It should be going the opposite direction. That is number one. As you are increasing in success, I want everyone to hear that, you should be decreasing in your stress, because you're delegating more and you're having more success in your life and more time for yourself. You can pull yourself back, work on your business more. So that is, like, again, another thing that society and culture teaches us, like, oh my gosh, you got to work hard for your money. Absolutely not. When I let go of that and was like, I'm not going to work hard for my money like I used to and sleep 5 hours a night. I'm going to sleep 7 to 8 hours a night, and I'm not going to work hard. I'm going to devote an hour to me. All of a sudden, I didn't have tumbleweeds in my bank account. Things are going great, and I'm not working harder, right? So, Melissa, talk to me about, a typical client that you would see on a regular basis that, one of your patients that comes to you. I know that the top three you always talk about is like high blood pressure, diabetes, people that are on blood pressure medications, and they're on all these and then they're on medications that treat the symptoms of those other medications. That's and antidepressants. Those seem to be the highest ones you deal with. What are you finding in the cases when you're starting to dig down to some of those root causes, and how are you assisting your patients in eliminating that in their lives?
Sure. So I use an approach which is becoming more popular. We've used to heard the word holistic, and I like to say holistic with a W because it's whole body health and actually pulling all of those pieces together. So we look at the physical, we look at what's going on with what you're putting in your mouth, we look at your movement, we look at the mind, because the mind is a very powerful thing, and you can set your mind to something and it's going to happen, or it's not going to happen, whatever you choose. And so pulling out those pieces, and a lot of my clients do come to me because they are on a medication that they were put on by their physician, and they've realized, you know what, I don't want to be on this anymore. And so often that's where we start, and we start looking at all of those pieces and all the pieces of whole body health. We start peeling back the layers. And as we start peeling back those layers and we figure out, okay, what really is the root cause of my high blood pressure? What really is the root cause of my depression? And we pull those layers back, and we go through many different things, so there could be exercises to do, as in mental and or physical exercises, depending upon what it is. Going through those processes and really looking and assessing, looking at lab work, because maybe you're deficient in something. That's often, so many people are deficient in so many things, and we don't know, because when you go in and get a regular blood test drawn, they're not specific for these things that most people are deficient in, such as like vitamin D. You have to ask specially to have that drawn. Magnesium often has to be special to have drawn. Your amino acids, if they're changing. So these are things that we look at, and then based upon those deficiencies, or sometimes you have too much, we look at those and we start tweaking things. And as your lifestyle is changing, then we start looking at the medications that you no longer want to be on. And I come up with a plan to safely get you off the medication. There's no way you should ever stop a medication without supervision, because there can be very detrimental effects. There's certain medications, if you completely stop, you will die. And I have to say it bluntly like that, because that's true. And there's other medications, you safely taper them, and you get to the point, even those ones that if you quickly stop, you safely taper and you're able to get off of them. Because you've been put on something doesn't mean you're going to be put on it for life. Just like I didn't want to go back and see my physician again for that surgeon. You make up your mind and you decide, you know what, I'm not taking this medication again. It's a crutch. And we don't want to get rid of those crutches, because we want you to stand on your own 2 feet and stand in your own power.
Yeah, I think it's easy, right? To just, like, people are looking for the silver bullet in their business. Where's that one thing that's going to get me the success? It's a combination of so many other things. No different with medication. What's that one pill that's going to solve my one problem? And that winds up causing so many other issues. And then they have to take more medications. But if you're not doing the whole body health approach, like you say, and adding the mind and the movement and the nutrition and the supplements or whatever it may be, lack of, I've done these tests and I thought I was a healthy person. I've been a personal trainer like Mel, and I've, been a personal trainer. I used to teach other people how to be healthy, and nowhere did I know that I had levels that were too high, levels that were too low. And it had to do with a supplement I was taking that was jacking up a level or bringing down another level. And it just took a little tweaking. But, we know our bodies, right? We know our bodies. We know if something's going on, if you're not sleeping well, if you're having an excess of something, when something's off. And so I love that you're the advocate, Melissa, for so many people that are really just kind of, I think they feel that they're using their doctor as a crutch. They don't know where else to go, what else to do. So because we're told to go to our doctor when we're sick, they go to their doctor when they're sick. And here, this doctor that took a semester on medication prescribes them something to treat the symptom of what's happening, but there's a root cause going on. And it's generally never that prescription's never going to fix the actual root cause of what's happening, because if they keep getting ear infections over and over again, you can treat the ear infection, but why do they keep getting the ear infection over and over again, right? So thank you for being that advocate out there. And if you know you're not feeling well or something's off, or you just think, hey, I'm feeling more sluggish, or weight's not falling off my body like it used to, or I'm not hungry anymore, whatever it may be in your life, if stresses have changed or gotten better, or headaches, Melissa's a great one. She has something called Ask Dr. Melissa that she does a show every week. She also has platforms for you to ask questions. So Melissa, will you tell them a little bit about those so that our listeners know how to find you, how to reach you, and how to book some time with you?
Absolutely. So the best way to find me is either on my website at drmelissabalazan.com. Yes, my last name is Balizan. And or you can book an appointment with me at askdrmelissa.net. And then probably LinkedIn is probably the best way to find me at Dr. Melissa Balazan. And I want to just tap in, and when you start having those feelings, a lot of us do turn to a supplement. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention that all supplements are not created equal. Some are better than others. And just turning to what your friend told you worked for her may not be the best choice for you, because it could interact with your other medications, your other supplements that you're taking. And so I caution you to just reach for whatever somebody told you, a friend or colleague that's not in specializing in that area. Okay. So that's what I do. I specialize in the Eastern and the Western. I can go both ways. And the time is now for you to book that appointment with me, because you only have one body. It's right here. It's right now. You may not be on medications right now. Maybe you're just having some symptoms and you don't know what's going on. The thing is if you start taking care of yourself today, then when your health would have declined in the future, hopefully it won't decline in the future. Now, I can't guarantee anything, but what I can say is that you have today, right now, can't guarantee you tomorrow. So the time is now for you to actually take charge of your health and implement it. Book the call with me today, and so that you can learn what's going on for your body.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and sometimes there's no symptoms. For me, there were none. I had no symptoms, and I just jumped in and was like, I just want to make sure that I'm healthy. It's like, we do our annual colonoscopies, annual gynecologist appointments, annual mammograms, whatever those are. It's like insurance, right? You're just checking in with your body to make sure things are going well. So, you can't really get anything else. It's free to have a call to say, hey, Melissa, what's up? Tell me what I can do about this. So I love that. Thank you so much, Melissa, for being here and being an advocate for our health and helping us understand and navigate this pill-ridden world a little easier. Everyone's like, turmeric's all the rage. I'm like, yes, I'm taking turmeric. And Melissa was like, please tell me you're taking that with pepper. I was like, hold the phone. What did you just say? Pepper? I didn't know that. So just so everyone needs to note, there's so much more we don't know. So don't just go by what your friend says and start buying turmeric shots and taking them back because you think you're being healthy. Then before you know it, your results are like off the charts in an area and you're like spilling stuff over in your urine, and then you've got a bladder infection, and then it's just, it's like downhill from there. So go to the experts. And that's what I love about Melissa, because, a lot of entrepreneurs don't have regular insurance. So we may be using a different type of the ways that we pay for our healthcare, and knowing that there's resources like you out there. Same with you, Mel, knowing that there's resources out there of entrepreneurs and people that are leading the way for us to help us realize that we create the businesses we want to create, how we want to create them. There's not a box approach to this in success. You've got to really don't let others tell you what you should be doing. Don't let others push you around. And stress is like a no-win situation for anyone. And if you're under stress and you're like, but I have to do this to grow my business, the answer is no, you don't. No, you don't. You can be healthy. You can be happy. You can have the desires of the things you want to have. You can have a great relationship with your family and not feel guilty that I'm not working hard to grow my business. Like, is time with your family what helps you? Then spend that time with your family, because I guarantee your business will benefit from that. Wouldn't you say, Mel?
100%. And I love the total correlation, of the Band-Aid effect. Like, there's no Band-Aid for your business. There's no course that's going to teach you what you need to learn to create your business. Just like there's no supplement that's going to cure it all. And on the flip side as well, yes, a lot of people are going to have opinions on what you need to do to create the success you desire. And that's great, but take every single one of them with a grain of salt and do your research, do that internal research of where does that actually fit. So I definitely agree that the correlation between the two of us, which is probably why you're so genius to put us together in this show, is definitely linear. There is no Band-Aid. There is no one size fits all. And you need to talk to an expert, or at least know how to talk to yourself as an expert, so you can put into play what you need to.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Ladies, thank you so much for being with me today. Listeners, you are the only you that's ever been. You are the only you that will ever be. That's how you stand out. Stop suppressing who that person is and let that person come out and roar. Like, be in the spotlight, expand your influence. Do not ever apologize for being who you are. Give yourself the permission to live the life that you desire today, not tomorrow. We're not promised that. And today's going to turn into yesterday. So we don't even know ever if we wake up tomorrow. I was on an interview with a lady of an hour ago that said that her husband passed away from cancer very abruptly. I have a client that I was working with within a month and a half of starting to work with her. They discovered her husband had cancer. He passed away a month and a half later. We never know. And you cannot live your life with regret, or for 1 second feel like I'm out of control. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm letting other people tell me what to do. Find people like Mel McSherry that can help you really navigate that entrepreneur story that begins with what you want and how you do that, and contact Dr. Melissa to really understand your health, because no one else gives a crap about your business or your health more than you. Let me just tell you that right now. So you're the one that has to take control of this, because no one else is going to do it for you. So listeners, thank you for being with us today. It was super powerful. Slash that stress you have in your life. Take your life into your own hands. You have our permission today to do that. All right, ladies, thanks for being with us. Thank you so much, listeners. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye now.